How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation. Time to get that imagination all cranked up. Get into some creativity. And it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Pastoras. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. I love his stuff. I think he has a wonderful imagination and a really unique and wonderful style. Very, I would say, different than a lot of American style illustration and comic art. But just a wonderful overall view of the world and interpretation, unique voice, I think, that comes across in his work. Great anatomy, great layout, really interesting posing, very dynamic piece overall. I love his choice of color. This one really reminded me of almost just like if someone said they wanted to take a selfie with Conan. It's kind of the feel I get from this one, which I thought was just really great and great sense of bright colors, but using them in a more muted way. I think that works really well. Again, I really like his stuff. You got this loose line work and then a lovely watercolor splash on top of it that really brings his characters to life and gives them a really unique feel. Again, a great overall composition here. I love the giant dragon beast that's slain here, and it's really laid out really nicely. So you've got the focus being right here. You've got all the individual parts that kind of frame the main piece there. He's worked on Thor as well, and I really liked this one. I thought this one in particular, right there, was just a great portrait. It's got a lot of detail, and the way that he does the hair and kind of liquid coming off of that. I think it might be sweat that's coming off of there, but just a really nice drapery of the face there too. Really gorgeous stuff. So I urge you guys to check out more from him. Oh, that's a Luis that slipped in there. Sorry about that. This one's great too. Just wonderful stuff. I thought this one was great. I love the color, and this one just popped out to me. I don't know. Like there's it's definitely a little bit rougher, but there's something about this piece in particular that really just made me pause on it. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know that I can put it into words, but there's something just phenomenal about this one in particular. I think the color choices are really bright and really pop and work together really well. And the whole piece overall just works for me. And I'm not quite sure why, which is one of the reasons why I threw this one in there. But I did want to share a quote that I was able to find, and unfortunately, I believe I don't want to. English isn't his primary language, so there wasn't a ton of interviews that I was able to find, but I was able to look through his blog, and not too much verbiage there either, but one of the things that I pulled out of there was this quote from him. They said, "I am always a little confused," and I think that's wonderful, that someone with such a high amount of skill and wonderful talent is freely being humble and throwing out, that they deal with confusion. And I think that's a large part of any sort of imaginative or creative work, is that there's a lot of just playing around, and I don't want to say that in a negative connotation, but that it is kind of a lot of experimenting, and there is a sense of play and a sense of wonder and a sense of confusion, but being able to work through that until you get to something that speaks to other people or resonates with other people. It's about getting down in that workday, that creative workday, and sitting down and putting those hours in. And it's, even if you don't know necessarily what you're going to do, but not to be afraid of that blank page if you got to draw, or of what song you got to come up with if you got to write a song, but just sitting there and playing around and doodling like we had the other day that talk about. Most that he learned was from his own doodling, and just finding and discovering and coming up with those things and being confused and letting that confusion lead you to more knowledge or to more experimentation. It's just a wonderful idea and quote, and I love the humility in there as well. I feel like that it's really, to me, what I find more that I'm drawn to, rather than a lot of people who talk about how much they're a master of their craft, and it's all, I don't know, I just find that I'm drawn a little more to the humility side for me in particular. So if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing, before I go off and ramble for hours and hours, we're going to get into some animation. We're going to play around. We're continuing our little sword attack animation for today. So let's watch it overall, see where we went to. I think we ended up only going to about 103. I think is where we ended off there. So let's play it first. And this is the Goon rig. It comes from the How to Cheat in Maya series. You get it free when you pick up that book. I'll throw a link in the description below. It isn't a free rig, but it's still fairly, I think it's only like $15. It's not expensive, and it's a great book, great read. Kenny Roy, check out the links in the description below. The main goal of doing these videos is to hopefully encourage you and inspire you to go off and create your own content each and every day, to feel like you're not alone in your art day, to be okay with being confused or being worried that you're going to fail or trip up, and just do it. Just create every day. Get in that habit of doing it. Have some sort of a commitment there too. I urge you guys to start making YouTube videos, even if for nothing else. It gives you a sense of something that you have to do. You want to commit to doing that, so you do like a daily thing, or you do a weekly thing, or a bi-weekly thing, and give you some sort of schedule that you should try and keep up with. I find that helps me to play around a little bit more and to not get too stale with things too. So let's go ahead and play around here some more. Let's have some fun. I'm a little rambly and off today, but we're gonna have fun no matter what. So let's watch this thing and see where we want to take it. Okay, so first thing I'm noticing is I want to do this arm towards the end. I don't really have anything. It's just kind of moving between those two keys. I'd like to throw in another break down there, so it's not just doing that. I want to do a little bit on the neck as well. Just drag it a little bit and let it settle. This foot I want to touch up a little bit, and then I want to do some stuff with the fingers where the fingers are really dead, and also maybe get another couple expressions in the face, so we can do a little more looseness on that. And I think that's a good amount to do for today. If we can hit up all those things, that'll be great. We could definitely do a bunch more polishing passes on everything too, but I think if we're trying to keep these within an hour, I think that'll be where we start off. So let's start off with looking at this arm and what we're going to do with this arm to go here. So let's look at our graph editor, see what we got here. Yeah, see, this is just flat there, which I don't really want. I don't want to flatten off there. So let's should still swing back a little bit, I think, right? Like that. Let's look at it. Try to blend the movements a little more. Maybe a couple frames sooner and a little less. Bring that back a little bit more. Overshoot it a little bit and come back. Let's see that now. It's a little too much, so scale that back and maybe have it go about 2 frames sooner. Let's see how that feels. Maybe a little bit more there. Alright, and let's look at this forearm. Go a little bit more forward there, trying to blend those movements a little bit more. Here, drag back some more. Up a little bit and settle. Try that, but I'm sure it's probably a little over exaggerated here too. But let's see how it looks. Yeah, a little too much. this could maybe be a couple frames sooner on everything, so you have a little more time to get there. So let's see. Let's do a little bit on the hand here too. So we know we like it here. I feel like it does some funkiness there, so I'm going to delete that. So forward, so back, swing forward a little bit more. Back a little bit more. A little bit more movement there. Try to taper off that kind of recoil and then blend it into this next move. Drag it a little bit more there. Lift it up a little bit more. Let's see how that feels. Alright, it's a little bit of whiplash in there, so let's tone it down a little bit more. Let's see how we're doing. I think that works. Now what I might do here is take everything I've got at 84 and make that about minus 87. Give me a couple more frames so I can kind of slow into that first move from out of that ending. That feels a little better. Just blends it a little bit more than starting right into that kind of cycle. We get a couple more frames to get out of there. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to do is do a little bit on the head here. Try to blend those moves a little bit more. Right here. flies off here, so let's see what we can do to liven that up. Let's look at the rotate X. Try to focus in on that a little bit more. So we still get a little bit of movement there. So we can polish that up a little bit better. Okay, and let's look at the neck too. I'm sure we got some of that same problem here. It's not as bad though. Yeah, let's grab both of these. Set what we have there. Set what we have there. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. Take this and move it a couple more frames there. Now let's see. Maybe not as much. It feels like it's a little too much movement. So take what we have at 55 and make that our 64. So we still have a little bit of movement in there. Still not great yet. Maybe we'll take what we have here and punch that in there so we still get a little bit of a dip there real quick. 1 second here. Okay, sorry about that. Where were we? We're looking at the head, right? I think we lost a little bit there. Okay, so let's look here. So we've got that big move down, up. Should settle down here a little bit more. See if we can find something that works. So we still got a little bit of it. You know what? Let's try this. Go there to there. So I know I like it at 42. And I like it where we have it at 84. So let's just get rid of everything in between there. Get something a little bit cleaner. Just feel like it's not that great of a move. So let's see. I'll take away out 41 and put that back there. I'll take away out 50 and put that there. I'll try and see if we can taper off a little better. Let's see. Maybe not as much here. A little bit less. That feels a little better. this one might need to be a little more exaggerated here. Let's try it now. Yeah, the head feels like it's a little over-exaggerated there. So let's see. Maybe we'll just delete it a frame. Push it back a frame, let's see. Just keep tweaking this till it feels a little better. Let's see. Maybe the neck is a little too exaggerated here. Scale it back just a little bit. Watch it a couple times. Yeah, I think it's okay, but I think this second one goes up a little bit here. Should be a little bit higher and a little bit more, so we taper off a little better. Just feels like we've got something funky there. Down, up is fine. We'll go here. We'll go there. Maybe be 2 frames later. One frame sooner. So that one, and that one, this one here. Try to get the timing a little better. And this first one should be about a frame sooner. And take everything on the head and delay it a frame. just looking at these frames here. To 84. This needs to be about a frame sooner. Less. So we have 7 frames there, 8 frames. And go from here to there, delete that, delete that. Just trying to tweak these poses just a little bit. This one feels too extreme. Delete this one. Okay, sorry about that. Just clean that up a little bit more. Didn't figure that was super fascinating, so just paused it there for a second. Just cleaned up that arc a little bit better. So let's watch it all together, and we're just looking at the neck for now. And let's see how it feels. Okay, it's alright, not perfect, but it's workable. Okay, in order to get to everything that I want to get to, I'm not going to be able to spend a ton of time there. Now here, I think I'll give a little bit in the foot, just so the foot doesn't feel so stiff there. Probably a little bit less than that. Hold it up there a little bit more. Just so there's a little bit of give there. And hold it for about 2 more frames. Let's look here. Sometimes what I like to do too, just to help that foot feel a little more alive, is like right here, I'd give a little bit of settle on the toe. So as it slams down, so it'll be flat here. The toe, the heel will go down, causes a little bit of rock in the foot. And it goes back to 0. So you see a little bit of recoil there in that toe. Might be a little too high, so I'll just cut that a little bit more, just so there's a little bit of give there. Okay, now I wanted to do some stuff. So a couple more hand poses in here. So let's start off, we'll do a little bit of, we'll do here. We'll do a little bit of give in the fingers there, so let's get the spread up. And then 12 from there, be 58. Down. 46 up, and then 34 down. Let's get in there a little bit tighter here. Just to get a little bit of sway in those fingers. I think I actually want to do this at, is it 80? We should have one more here. This is what, 30, so 12 frames, and that would be 18, I think. Just so we have a little give in those fingers. There we go. We'll still basically be holding that same pose, really, but we'll just give a little bit of sway in those fingers. Look there. Add a little bit of variety there too. Let's see. Okay, so I'll take the little spread and we'll just delay it one frame, and an index spread, and we'll push that stuff forward a frame. Let's see it now. So we loosened up that. Like I said, it doesn't have to be great, but just a little bit looser there, so we've got some movement in the hand, make it feel alive there. And let's look at the thumb. Go a little bit down here, a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down. Okay, and we'll clean that up a little bit more. So we've got some movement here in it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just so there's something there. A little bit of give in the thumb there. Let's see. Should be about 2 frames sooner though. So high. Maybe just move my movement a little bit more. Let's see it now. Just a little bit of give there. get a different pose here. Set that. Do a little more straighten out here. Just so we've got some variety in our hand posing a little bit more. I feel like that's a fairly good hand pose there. So we got here and here. That's fine. Let's delete this one. This one. Put it there. Here, I'd want to take everything on the little finger and delete that frame. Take everything on the index and push that forward a frame. And let's see how that looks, just see if it's a little bit looser. So we've got a little bit of variety in how we get from pose to pose on those hand poses. And maybe we'll give our thumb a better breakdown pose there. We're not really adding like an extra real pose, it's just how we get from pose 1 to pose 2. So it's not just middle of the road of how it got there. Maybe no, that's fine. Okay, so I know I'm still fine here. Do I want to do like a closed fist? I was thinking maybe do a more powerful closed fist there. Let's see. So let's bring that down, bring this down. Just to show a little more power in this pose. A little more personality there too. I don't know. If we don't like it, we can get rid of it. So we have a little more acting with our hand poses here. I like to play with hand posing. I feel like that and facial expressions really is where you get that sense of personality or feeling a lot from. I mean, the rest of the pose definitely, but I feel like if you can nail the hand positions and the facial expressions, then you can really sell what the character's thinking, you know. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Comments down below. Put that down. Put this one over. Maybe that's not right. Yeah, I don't think a fist is the right acting beat there. Still want something though. We do be a little bit different. I guess we could just do a little bit of sway in the fingers so they drag a little bit. That's one thing. You get a little bit different grouping here too. So you could still play kind of within that pose there. that's fine. And then we'll keep some sort of variation of that about there. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that one. Here we'd really want to drag the fingers a little bit more. I think that tip of this finger might not be as successful of a move there. And here we'd want to sway it back. Yeah, let's ungroup it a little bit more. Unclench it so it's a little bit looser. And same with this ring. Drag it here, drag it there. Okay. So set everything there. And then we'll do a little bit of sway forward here. And sway forward there. There again. Again, getting different groupings is going to help us loosen this hand up a little bit more. So set that, set that. Gonna keep deleting all these. We need to eventually get back into that original pose. I want to keep playing here. So that's where it's swinging forward. This would be kind of where it's dragging back. So we'll drag the fingers a little bit more here, there, there, there. We do kind of want to taper off this movement eventually. And then we'd swing it forward a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit back. Still just try to keep these fingers alive a little bit more. Don't want this hand to turn so much here. So let's look at the rotate. Let's just rotate X here. So it's still kind of flat to camera. Now let's come up with a better pose here. straight there. Loosen it up just a tad bit. We'll straighten out the middle a little bit more. And let's group that pinky in there too. Let's see that. And I want to hold that till about there. Let me hold that a little bit more. Let's see now. I think we might need to go back in and re-add our sway in there. Just forward, drag back a little bit. Drag it forward a little bit. Drag it back a little bit. And we'll get up in there. Let's see. I think we won't make this one so extreme here. A couple frames shorter there. Maybe a couple frames sooner too. This should be back further. Like that. Swing forward, swing back. Just seems like maybe it's a little too slow. Back, swing forward. Yeah, should hit about there. And let's set that, bring that to there. And let's look at those splays or spreads here. Yeah, let's try and make sure we have them working a little bit better. Got it tapering off a little bit better here too. Okay, yeah, let's look at that. That feels better. Oops, and we'll delay those a frame as well. Just so there's a little more successive movement in that as well. Okay, and then we want to do the thumb here. So right there, the thumb would be really dragging. Swing inward there. Swing out about there. Go in there. Out there. Okay, and let's look at how that would be. Probably something like that. Let's see. Again, we're just looking at the thumb right now. Okay, so this part all feels fine. Up till about 40, so it should go out there. And go less movement here. Our extreme should be about there. Here. Let's see that now. Feels a little better. Alright, and now let's look at this hand. We'll do a little bit on here. Again, this is just going to really be keep alive. It's nothing too fancy at all. So we'll go at, what was it, 72 I think we started. We'll do a little bit down. And 60 will be up. And 48 down. 36 up. 24 down. 12 up. Okay. And let's just see how that's setting up and looking right now. Again, nothing we need a lot of, just so there's some movement in that hand. It's not totally dead there. And we could probably do a little bit more than that too. Okay, and let's look at the ring and the little spread. Go up there, down there, up there, down, up, and down. Okay. And again, this is really just kind of keep alive. It's nothing too exciting there in that hand, but just so we get something. I think I might have that going on. Wait, let's see. Let's go something more like this and scale it back. Right, and we'll tone down the ring a little bit more and delay the pinky one frame and just a little bit of movement in there. And now here, I want to clench it a little bit tighter. So we'll go ahead and set that. Set that one, delete that, delete that. And we'll hold it for a little bit longer here too. And then let's set one that's here. I still want to have a little bit of movement throughout everything. This isn't totally dead. I feel like we could probably go a little bit more out here. So kind of like that. Here we could push those all out a little bit more. In a little bit. Out a little bit. In a little bit. Out and back. Alright, let's try and clean that up a little bit more here. Again, it's just to give a little bit. So there's not so much deadness in that hand. And then for this one, I'll take everything a little and delay it a couple of frames and everything on our index, so we'll push it forward a frame. Here, let's go ahead and drag the thumb a little bit. Actually, let's lift the thumb up and have it go down there. We'll also do a little bit of up and down on the thumb. Alright, and let's try and clean that up a bit more here too. Just so we have some movement through that thumb. Let's see how it feels. Okay, I think it's a little over-exaggerated in the beginning, so I'll scale it back a little bit. And let's look at it now. to start off with, I don't want this mouth open. It feels not right to me. So let's close that mouth up a little bit more. Let's keep that closed a little bit more. Delete that, delete that. Hit this one about there. Hold it down a little bit more, just loosening up the jaw a little bit here. Probably a little too wide, so let's scale it back a little bit more. And a little wider than that. I want to see it here. And then let's go and loosen up the jaw here as well during the idle process, so there's some movement in the face there too. Keep that, and we'll go back there. Okay. So like right here, you drag it closed a little bit. And this one will be our open a little bit, closed a little bit, open. Throw another one in, 12, about here. Down, just so we have a little bit of looseness in the jaw. Okay, it's probably a little too much, so I'll scale that back. Let's see. And I think I want to close that a little bit faster. It feels like it's a little slow closing, so let's see. And then I think I have another one here where it's open. And so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that stuff here. What if I, let's keep it closed here. Open it there. Try to loosen up that jaw a little bit more there too. Now let's see. What I want to do is I want to push the jaw forward a little bit, give it a little bit of that underbite. again, I'm not going to worry too much about the pupils for right now, but just so that I can keep that going there. Hold that. That's held out there. Okay. And we'll take the lids and we'll keep them closed here for a couple of frames. And we'll open them back up. It's not really a blink, it's just like his, because the impact, he close his eyes for a second there, kind of, and then open them back up. And open them slowly too. So let's see that now. Okay, I think hold for a little too long. And I take maybe an extra frame to open. So a frame loss there. Hold them back for another frame. And in this case, I'll overshoot them up and back. So a little bit of movement there. And we'll take the lower lids and we'll delay those a frame. Just to add a little bit of variety there too. Upper lids, I think we maybe went a little too far with the overshoot. And then we'll do it again. We'll close the eyes again during this move. And use the lower upper lids more here. Set that. Hold that for a couple more frames here. Keep them closed there. Bring that sooner. Just a quick little blink. And open them more. That's it now. So we get the blink in the middle of the move, open, and then rest. Okay, that's it now. And then I think I want to throw a blink in here, just arbitrarily, just to have a little more movement in the face here. So take what we have here and hold it for a bit longer. Back up sooner. Just so we have a little bit of movement in those eyes there. And it feels like it takes a little too long, so let's cut it by a couple of frames there. There we go. Like I said, just a little blink. And I think it takes still maybe one frame too long to open back up here. Maybe it's just held for too long. Take a one frame out of the hold for how long those are closed there. Delay it. So I think we'll call it for now. I'm sure we're hit our hour at least for this one. Still gonna do another day on this. I want to do some more facial expressions, and we'll try and get in there and really work with those. I think the rest of the body mechanics we might just leave alone unless there's any big outliers, and we'll just end probably tomorrow then, unless we come up with a bunch of other ideas we want to play with, but do a couple more facial expressions really in there. Try and really come up with something cool for this with a facial expression. This will do more of a squash here, and do something in between there, so we hit a couple more facial expression points there, and just a little more life overall in the face and the cheeks and the eyebrows and all that stuff. So let's take a look back at where we started. We're looking at the beautiful work of Pastoras, and he said, "I'm always a little confused." And that's great. If someone who is successful, wonderful, amazing, and talented talks about how they themselves deal with confusion and not always being sure of every single thing, then don't worry, you can do it. I believe in you. You're amazing. You're the creative future. So go out there and create. Use your imagination. Use your creative spirit. Use those wonderful things that make you uniquely you, and make something. Share it with the world, because you can do it. I believe in you. I'm getting rambly. So this was fun. I'm liking the series. I hope that you guys are having fun doing something a little bit different, getting in there and really being able to break stuff down a little bit longer than just having to do something within an hour. So thanks for all the likes and subscribes, and we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.